Hello, everyone. I am Sharia Robinson and will be presenting from our text, Advanced Nursing Research from Theory to Practice on Chapters 6 and 7. Chapter 6 Objectives: to recognize descriptive research designs, to recognize mixed methods, to recognize meta-analysis. In Chapter 6, we are reminded that a research design is the logical sequence that connects the empirical data to the study's initial research question and ultimately to the conclusion. I reviewed Chapter 4, where the two major research designs were introduced: qualitative and quantitative. Quantitative designs are said to have well-defined principles and clear guidelines, and qualitative designs are seen as ambiguous and less structured. In Chapter 6, qualitative and quantitative designs remain the foundation and influence the outcome despite the various design methods presented here. Descriptive research designs. The researcher does not provide treatment or manipulation of any kind. The research involves natural experiment. Research involves a single group or phenomenon. Please refer to the third paragraph on page 77 to see how the term treatment is used in Chapter 6. In descriptive research, the investigator does not provide a treatment of any kind, and that is a direct quote from our textbook. It also avoids manipulation such as providing a new vaccine, medication, patient education, or new items for a facility. The research also involves natural experiment, where comparisons are made. For example, in a natural experiment, two different outcomes are observed from a group of people who live in the same place, work in the same place, and go to the same school. Comparisons are made about how some people in that group may have developed cancer while the others have not. Research involves a single group or phenomenon. Also, with descriptive research designs, it varies in size and complexity, and the data may be quantitative, qualitative, or both. Simple descriptive designs. Simple descriptive designs are the most basic descriptive design. Researcher focuses on a single group or population, such as the group of adolescents who received vaccines between 2005 and 2007 and experienced syncope. This example can be found on page 80 of our text. Researcher also collects data on characteristics, attributes, and experiences. Researcher uses descriptive statistics to explain results. Quantitative descriptive designs, the results are reported using means, medians, and percentage, while qualitative design results are reported as a narrative. Researcher uses case studies and surveys, which are two common types of simple descriptive designs. Surveys are used primarily to obtain results that can be tallied. Please find examples of case studies on page 78 and 79 of our text, and the survey research example is on page 80. Next, we are looking at more complex descriptive designs. When the study involves one design and has more than one group, as mentioned in the previous example, where people were living and working in the same location, but some of the group developed cancer and the other ones did not, this is called a descriptive comparative design. When the study has one group but involves more than one observation, it is called descriptive association design or descriptive correlational design. We're looking at prediction and causation. This is where the researcher uses regression and statistical techniques with this design. The researcher seeks to prove relationships between variables. The researcher also can use causal model, and this is an example at the last paragraph on page 85 under the prediction and causation section. In this example, the lifetime of parental abuse is the independent or predictor variable, and the adolescent's suicidal ideation is the dependent or the outcome variable. One could argue that the abuse led to the suicidal ideation, but researchers are careful and refer to the effect or outcome as an influence rather than a cause. Researchers use a theoretical argument to prove or disprove the cause of an outcome in when you talk about prediction and causation. Here I have included figure 6.1 from page 82 of our textbook. Here you can see the top row has one design and more than one group to compare, which is called our comparative descriptive design. The second row has the same group but has decided to compare additional observations about that group. This is called the associational or correlational descriptive designs. The third row has a combination of more than one group and more than one observation, which is called combined comparative and correlational design. Secondary analyses. Secondary analysis uses multiple analyses from one set of data. The researcher obtains high-quality data on large groups of people, uses this type of research for groups hard to reach or hard to access, such as depressed older adults who have isolated themselves. Researcher also uses data already collected for a study that's already in progress. Big data is sophisticated and rapid analysis of massive amount of diverse information. When I thought of that, that's why I included this picture here. It makes me think of so much going on all at one time. With big data, the research involves extreme volume of data, which is, of course, referred to in our book just as volume. The research involves various types and formats of data, which is a variety. The research involves rapid analysis of massive amounts of data, which is called velocity. Also, this research is measured in petabytes. 50 petabytes is equal to 1 billion file cabinets of data. Researchers should be cautious of the quality of the data, cautious of misunderstanding of the data, and our textbook warns that researchers should be cautious to protect personal health information. Mixed designs and mixed methods. Here we find qualitative and quantitative designs once again. Meta designs, qualitative and quantitative designs, designs that complement each other. Meta designs are combinations of the designs we have discussed so far. Researchers combine methods and use them in various ways. Researchers use qualitative and quantitative approaches and often find that the two approaches complement each other. Researchers may gain a better understanding of the phenomenon, and one approach may inform the design of the second approach. Here we will continue to discuss mixed designs and mixed methods. Timing, emphasis, and data mixing. Integrate methods in varying levels. Separated, sequential, comparative, and integrated. I will first start with timing, emphasis, and data mixing. Timing describes how data is collected simultaneously or sequentially. Emphasis indicates if the study's design will be primarily a collection of qualitative data with the addition of quantitative data or vice versa. or an equal portion of both. Data mixing refers to merging quantitative and qualitative data into a single data set to be analyzed. Researchers integrate methods in varying levels, and the following terms describe the levels. Separated. Qualitative and quantitative data are collected, analyzed, and reported separately. Sequential. Either qualitative or quantitative data are collected first, and the results are used to inform the design and/or collection of the subsequent data. Comparative. Data collected and analyzed separately. Results are then linked and compared. Integrated. Qualitative and quantitative data are collected approximately at the same time, and the results are analyzed together. The data may or may not be transformed and merged into a single data set for analysis. As I found in the text, researchers are sometimes criticized for merging data. Researchers' level of expertise is relevant and usually takes a team of researchers to successfully execute such analyses. Researchers are held accountable for choosing the best method. Please join me in our community-based research where our voices can be heard. I've termed this special research, but it falls under the umbrella of mixed methods and mixed designs. You have community-based participatory action research, organization-based action research, and patient-centered outcome research. Community-based participatory action research is where the researcher and community participants partner to plan and implement the research, ideally from start to finish. The researcher must have skills to identify the target population, engage the participants, and keep them motivated throughout the process. Organization-based action research is where organization members take an active part in planning, implementing, and evaluating the outcome of the study. This research has been used to bring about meaningful change within organizations. Patient-centered outcome research is where patients and families participate in the creation and implementation of the research study. I really love community health, so this really is near and dear to my heart. Meta-analyses. Here we will look at qualitative meta-analysis, quantitative meta-analysis, metadata, meta-synthesis, and meta-summary. Meta-analyses are formal, structured analyses of the results of multiple studies of the same topic. It is used to reconcile conflicting results by using statistical significance to find a discrepancy. Both qualitative and quantitative meta-analysis begin with number one, stating a research question. Two, the next step is to set boundaries on what and how the literature will be collected and used. A trial search is helpful in determining the scope of the topic and can help identify key research terms. Thirdly, the results of the search are then analyzed. But quantitative and qualitative meta-analysis are not analyzed the same way. Effect size is the difference of the two in two groups, the size of two groups, and is also most frequently used in statistics in quantitative meta-analyses. The result of the qualitative meta-analyses determines if meta-synthesis or meta-summary will be conducted. Meta-synthesis is a study of data that was synthesized during a meta-analysis study that takes a closer look at the findings. It provides interpretation and a higher level of understanding of the concepts, models, or metaphors found during the original meta-analysis study. Meta-summary takes a closer look at qualitative data that was summarized rather than synthesized during a qualitative meta-analysis study. Meta-summary looks at the themes instead of concepts, models, or metaphors. Metadata combines the data from various studies to be analyzed. It is an alternative to meta-analysis. We have finally reached Chapter 7. The objectives for Chapter 7 is to recognize epidemiological designs and to recognize longitudinal studies. Epidemiology is the study of the distribution and determinants of health-related states and events in human populations. Epidemiological and longitudinal studies have significantly contributed to the understanding of health and health-related concerns. Epidemiological designs. Epidemiological designs focus on incidence and prevalence. Incidence is the frequency of new cases of disease, illness, or injury. Prevalence is the count of all existing cases of disease, illness, or injury. Surveys, field trials, and community trials, and cohort studies are used to collect data for research. Case control design is used in a cohort study to identify a group of people that does not have the illness or issue. The sample of individuals are drawn from the same population as the individuals that have the issue. In retrospective studies, individuals are interviewed to identify past exposures. In prospective studies, individuals are tested or interviewed about present characteristics or behavior and may be followed to determine future behavior. In longitudinal studies, these studies can last for years and even decades. Please find an example of a case study on page 113 of our text. Since longitudinal studies last for years and even decades, the data is collected at a minimum of 2 times. So it's often collected even more than 2 times. And these time periods for which the data is collected is called waves, WAVES. Cross-sectional design versus prospective longitudinal designs. In cross-sectional designs, the information or data is collected usually one time and all together at one time from the sample or the group of people that's being studied. Longitudinal panel design, total population design, repeated cross-sectional design, and revolving panel design are all designs that you can find under longitudinal studies. In the revolving panel design, participants are added and dropped over the years of the study. One advantage of longitudinal designs is that it allows the opportunity to establish a causal relationship because the participant is followed for so many years and different aspects and influences can be observed, such as a person that is recovering from drug abuse. You can tell what things are going on in their family, whether they have a job or not, whether they have family support. And one disadvantage of the longitudinal studies is that they are so complex and challenging, and samples are often very large. In conclusion, I hope you can take away some important key points and remember that selecting a research design requires that the design aligns with the purpose of the study and will answer the research question. While people cannot be assigned to unhealthy behaviors, a research study can observe the effects of healthy behavior and the effects of unhealthy behavior in the same group or different groups, and then compare the outcome of that healthy and unhealthy behavior. Qualitative and quantitative design remain the foundation throughout mixed designs and mixed methods. A study was conducted to determine if an educational program for BSN students would improve knowledge and change attitudes of the students regarding their practice with breastfeeding mothers. At the end of that study, one of the important recommendations for future studies calls for the inclusion of qualitative data to be collected and analyzed should the study be done again. This is from Davis and Sherrod, a study that was completed in 2015, and you can find this reference on my reference page. In Chapter 7, complex and challenging research designs were presented. These complex and time-consuming research projects takes not just one, but investigative teams to conduct and follow through to the end. Please find my reference page on the next slide, and thank you.